Have you ever looked at your plate, and thought to yourself, hey, I'm eating healthy. I'm doing the right thing. You've got your greens, your veggies, your colorful sides. You've made the switch from fried foods to salads, from heavy dinners to lighter meals. But what if I told you that some of the very vegetables you've trusted for decades, the ones you believed were keeping you strong and healthy, might actually be doing more harm than good, especially now that you're older? I know, it sounds strange, right? Vegetables are supposed to be safe. They're the good guys. The "eat your veggies" advice has been drilled into us since we were kids. But here's the truth most people don't hear: as your body changes with age, your food needs change too. What once worked for you in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s, might actually be working against you in your 70s or 80s. You see, your digestion slows down. Your kidneys become more sensitive. Your blood pressure reacts differently. And certain vegetables, even the ones you've always loved, could be triggering things like gas, bloating, heartburn, fatigue, high blood pressure, even putting stress on your organs without you realizing it. And the scariest part? You'd never guess they were the problem. Because they look healthy. They feel healthy. They sound healthy. But your body might be quietly waving a red flag. Now don't worry, this isn't a "don't eat veggies" scare story. Far from it. In fact, some vegetables are your best allies, little powerhouses that can boost your energy, sharpen your memory, protect your joints, and help your heart stay strong. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 vegetables that seniors should absolutely avoid, and 3 vegetables you really should be eating every week, if you want to feel better, move easier, and stay sharp as you age. And no, it's not just about fancy superfoods or trendy diets. It's about understanding what your body needs right now, in this chapter of life. So, let me ask you. Are you ready to take your health seriously, for you, or maybe for someone you love? If so, go ahead and comment "I'm here" below to let me know you're with me. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon. Here at Elderly Wisdom Tips, we're all about thoughtful, practical guidance to help you live your best, healthiest life, one step, and one wise choice, at a time. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with the first vegetable that might surprise you: raw cruciferous vegetables. We're talking about raw broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, even Brussels sprouts. Now don't get me wrong, these veggies can be incredibly healthy. But here's the thing no one really talks about: they're not always the best choice for older adults, especially when eaten raw. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret is 72. She's always been mindful of her health. Every morning, without fail, she'd blend up a big green smoothie. She loaded it with raw kale, raw broccoli, even a little cabbage for that extra fiber kick. She felt proud. Like she was doing the right thing. Taking care of her body the best way she knew how. But then, something started to change. She began feeling tired, more than usual. Her stomach was bloated after every meal. She couldn't quite think as clearly, and her energy just disappeared. At first, she thought it was just part of aging. But after a routine checkup, her doctor noticed something off: her thyroid levels were low. Her metabolism had slowed down dramatically. Now here's where it gets interesting. Raw cruciferous vegetables contain natural compounds called goitrogens. These goitrogens can interfere with how your thyroid gland works, especially if you're already low on iodine or if your thyroid is a bit sluggish, which is common as we age. Your thyroid helps regulate your metabolism, your energy, even how warm or cold you feel. And when it's not working properly, you feel tired, sluggish, foggy, maybe even anxious or depressed. Margaret had no idea her healthy smoothies were the culprit. And she's not alone. A lot of older adults fall into the same trap. We hear "eat more greens, eat more fiber, go raw," and we follow that advice thinking we're doing what's best. But here's the truth: raw isn't always better. Especially not for aging bodies. As we get older, digestion slows down. Our enzyme levels drop. Our organs are a little more sensitive. Raw cruciferous veggies can be tough on the gut, and if your thyroid's already vulnerable, that's a double hit. So, what should you do instead? You don't have to give these veggies up, not at all. But cook them. Lightly steam them. Sauté them. Roast them. When you apply just a little heat, it breaks down the goitrogens and makes these vegetables much easier to digest. You still get the vitamins, the fiber, the cancer-fighting compounds, but without the heavy cost to your thyroid and stomach. A warm bowl of steamed broccoli with a drizzle of olive oil and a sprinkle of garlic. That's not just delicious, it's gentle, nourishing, and way more senior-friendly than a cold raw salad. And if you're thinking, well, I've eaten raw broccoli my whole life and I was fine, that might have been true at 40. But your 70s and 80s? That's a whole different story. Your body has changed, and your diet should too. Now, if raw cruciferous veggies are quietly draining your energy, there's another common vegetable that might be silently spiking your blood pressure. It's one most people keep in their pantry year-round. Beets. More specifically, canned beets. Let me introduce you to John. John is 81. A retired teacher, sharp as a tack, and always doing his best to stay on top of his health. When he read that beets could help improve blood flow and support heart function, he made a change. He started eating canned beets every day with lunch, a small bowl, sometimes mixed into salads, sometimes straight out of the can. He figured, I'm doing something good for my heart. But after a few months, something strange happened. At his routine doctor visit, his blood pressure had spiked, and not just a little. His readings were all over the place. And his doctor was confused. John wasn't eating fried foods, he wasn't eating chips, he'd cut back on bread and red meat, so where was all this sodium coming from? They took a closer look at his pantry, and there it was. Canned beets. Here's what most people don't realize, while beets themselves are indeed rich in nitrates, which can support circulation and help open up blood vessels, canned beets are often stored in a salty brine that's loaded with sodium. And for seniors, that extra salt isn't just a minor issue. As we age, our kidneys don't filter sodium as efficiently. Our blood vessels get stiffer. Which means even small amounts of added salt can have a big effect, raising blood pressure, stressing the heart, and increasing the risk of stroke or heart failure. So, John, thinking he was protecting his heart, was actually hurting it, every single day, without knowing it. It's a common trap. We hear about the benefits of a vegetable, and we don't stop to ask how it's been processed. Yes, beets are good for you. But not when they come swimming in salty liquid. So, what's the better option? Buy your beets fresh. Or go for frozen ones with no added ingredients. Roast them in the oven with a bit of olive oil. Steam them until tender. Even boil them and store them yourself in the fridge, you'll know exactly what's in there. Not only will you avoid the hidden salt, but you'll also get all the nutritional benefits beets have to offer, without sabotaging your blood pressure. And remember, just because something says vegetable on the label, doesn't mean it's healthy out of the can. It's not just what you eat, it's how it's prepared. Now, if you think canned beets were a sneaky salt bomb, wait until you hear about the next vegetable that's hiding in plain sight, a veggie that seems innocent but can quietly strain your kidneys over time. Let's take a closer look. Pickled or fermented vegetables, especially the ones soaking in vinegar. You know the kind. Pickled cucumbers. Pickled onions. Carrots. Cauliflower in that sharp, tangy brine. They've got that satisfying crunch, the punch of flavor. And for a lot of people, they bring back memories of childhood, family meals, and grandma's kitchen. Speaking of grandmas, let me tell you about Sarah's. Sarah's grandmother was 85. Sharp, witty, and full of life, and she loved her pickled cucumbers. Every lunch, she'd have a little bowl of them on the side. She used to say, they help with digestion. But over time, she started complaining of stomach pain. She had this constant burning in her chest, acid reflux that made it hard to sleep. She felt bloated, uncomfortable, and just off. The family thought maybe it was her medication. Or stress. But after a deeper look, her doctor pointed to something much simpler, her pickled veggies. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Pickled vegetables made with vinegar are very acidic. For younger people, the stomach can usually handle that acid load. But as we age, our stomach lining becomes more sensitive. Our ability to neutralize acid, especially after meals, slows down. That means acidic foods can easily trigger indigestion, heartburn, and acid reflux. And over time, this constant irritation can even lead to inflammation in the esophagus or damage to the stomach lining. And for seniors with compromised kidney function, which is more common than most realize, the added salt and acid load from pickled vegetables can quietly put more strain on the kidneys. Now here's a big misconception. People hear the word fermented and think, that's good for gut health, right? But not all fermented foods are created equal. A pickle soaked in vinegar is not the same thing as a traditional probiotic ferment. In fact, most store-bought pickled veggies have been pasteurized, meaning the good bacteria are gone, leaving behind only the salt, the acid, and sometimes added sugars or preservatives. So, what's a better route? If you want to support your gut health and digestion, go for naturally fermented foods like plain yogurt, kefir, or sauerkraut made with just cabbage and salt, no vinegar. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, you can even make your own fermented veggies at home. When you control the ingredients, you keep the salt low and avoid harsh acids. Sarah's grandmother. She made a small shift. Switched out the pickles for lightly steamed greens and a little kefir in the morning. And just like that, the acid reflux eased up, and she could enjoy meals again. So, remember, just because something has a long shelf life doesn't mean it's a long-term friend to your body. And when it comes to vinegar-based veggies, less is definitely more. Now, that's 3 vegetables we've covered, 3 you might want to keep off your plate if you're looking to protect your digestion, your thyroid, and your blood pressure. But it's not all bad news. Because next, we're turning the corner. Let's talk about 3 vegetables that seniors should absolutely welcome into their kitchen. The ones that nourish your heart, ease inflammation, and support memory with every bite. You ready for some good news? Let's dive in. Let's start this brighter chapter with a humble, earthy, and incredibly powerful vegetable, sweet potatoes. Now, let me introduce you to Edith. Edith is 75. She's active, loves her early morning walks, and enjoys cooking for her grandkids every Sunday. But she used to struggle with sluggish afternoons, tiredness that crept in like clockwork right after lunch. And at her last doctor's visit, her blood sugar numbers were inching toward prediabetes. She thought, I don't eat much sugar, what gives? Well, a little digging revealed a daily habit that might surprise you: white potatoes. Fried, mashed, baked, they were her go-to side. But then she made a small switch. She started swapping out white potatoes for roasted sweet potatoes. And within weeks, something changed. Her energy was steadier. Her digestion improved. And at her next checkup, her blood sugar was back in the safe zone. So why are sweet potatoes such a win for seniors? Let's break it down. First, they're rich in beta-carotene, that's the antioxidant your body converts into vitamin A, which supports healthy vision and strengthens your immune system. That's especially important as your eyes age and become more vulnerable to dryness, degeneration, and strain. Second, sweet potatoes are packed with potassium, a mineral that helps regulate blood pressure by balancing out the effects of sodium. And as we age, blood pressure control becomes more and more crucial for heart health and stroke prevention. Third, and this is big, sweet potatoes are high in fiber, which helps with digestion and keeps blood sugar levels more stable. Unlike white potatoes, which can spike your glucose quickly, sweet potatoes have a lower glycemic index, releasing sugar into your system slowly, so you avoid the highs and crashes that can leave you drained. Now, the key is how you prepare them. Try baking them whole, skin on, to keep the nutrients intact. Or steam them until soft, then mash with a drizzle of olive oil. You can even sprinkle a little cinnamon, which, believe it or not, may help regulate blood sugar even further. And here's the beautiful part, sweet potatoes are naturally sweet. So you get that comforting, hearty flavor, without reaching for dessert. Edith still eats them almost every day, as wedges, in soups, or mashed with cinnamon and a pinch of nutmeg. And her body? It's thanking her in quiet, powerful ways. Alright, now that we've covered a root vegetable that fuels your energy and protects your vision, let's talk about a crisp green veggie that strengthens your bones and gives your brain a boost, too. It's often overlooked, but it deserves a place on every senior's plate. Spinach. But not just any spinach, cooked spinach. Let me tell you about Henry. Henry is 68. He's the kind of man who loves working in his garden, always on the move, never one to sit still for long. But recently, he'd been dealing with these odd muscle cramps, especially at night. Sharp, sudden spasms in his calves and feet that would wake him up and leave him limping the next morning. At first, he thought maybe he was dehydrated. He started drinking more water. Still, the cramps came. Finally, his doctor took a closer look and suggested something Henry hadn't thought about, magnesium. You see, as we get older, we often become deficient in key minerals, and magnesium is one of the most important. It helps your muscles relax, keeps your nerves firing properly, and supports a steady heartbeat. And one of the best sources of magnesium? Spinach. But here's the twist, not raw spinach. Cooked. When you eat spinach raw, in salads or smoothies, it still contains valuable nutrients, but it's also high in something called oxalates. Oxalates can bind to minerals like calcium and magnesium, making them harder for your body to absorb. So when you cook spinach, even just lightly sauté it. You break down those oxalates, and suddenly, your body can access more of the iron, magnesium, and vitamin K it needs. That's not just good news for your muscles, it's excellent for your bones, your blood circulation, and even your brain. Spinach is rich in vitamin K, which helps direct calcium to your bones where it belongs, instead of letting it clog up your arteries. It also contains nitrates, which can gently help lower blood pressure. A major benefit for seniors trying to avoid heart medications or strokes. Now if you're wondering how to get more spinach without feeling like a rabbit, here's a simple idea, sauté it in a little olive oil with a clove of garlic. Maybe add a sprinkle of lemon juice for a light kick. That's it. It wilts down quickly, goes great with fish or eggs, and it's doing powerful work inside your body with every bite. Henry started doing that, just a few servings of cooked spinach a week. And within a month, his cramps became a rare thing. He's back to digging up weeds and planting tomatoes without those sharp interruptions at night. So yes, a humble bunch of spinach, when prepared the right way, can quietly support your muscles, your bones, and your memory all at once. And now, let's move on to one more vegetable. One that often gets overlooked. It doesn't have the bright color of a carrot or the fame of broccoli. But it might just be one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods a senior can eat. Let's talk about it. Green peas. Now, I know what you might be thinking, peas? Aren't those just starchy little fillers on a plate? But let me tell you a story about Mary, age 77. Mary was always cautious with her food. She'd heard that peas were too starchy, too carb-heavy, so she avoided them for years. But over time, she started feeling, well, sluggish. Her digestion was off, she didn't feel as regular, and she just couldn't keep up the way she used to. Then one day, while visiting her daughter, she had a bowl of homemade vegetable stew, filled with tender carrots, onions, and, yes, green peas. Within a few days of adding peas back into her meals, Mary felt lighter, more energized, and even noticed her digestion improving. She wasn't expecting it, but her body was grateful. So, what makes green peas such a quiet powerhouse, especially for seniors? First off, green peas are a rare combo. They're one of the few vegetables that are rich in plant-based protein. That's important, because as we age, muscle loss accelerates, and protein becomes more essential to maintain strength and mobility. They're also full of fiber, which helps with digestion, keeps your bowels moving regularly, and supports healthy cholesterol levels. And they're packed with B vitamins, especially folate and B6, which play a role in everything from energy production to brain health and even mood regulation. Now here's something you might appreciate: peas are easy on the stomach. They don't cause gas or bloating the way some other legumes do. They're soft, comforting, and incredibly versatile. You can add them to soups, stews, casseroles, or just serve them warm with a dab of butter and a pinch of sea salt. And best of all, you can keep a bag of frozen peas in your freezer, ready whenever you need them. No prep stress, no spoilage. Mary now includes peas 2 or 3 times a week, nothing fancy, just simple meals with real benefits. And she swears her energy has never been better. So don't let their small size fool you. Green peas pack a serious punch, quietly supporting your muscles, digestion, and mental clarity. Now, these 3 vegetables, sweet potatoes, cooked spinach, and green peas, might seem ordinary, but together, they can truly transform the way your body feels and functions as you age. That said, making changes to your diet, even small ones, can be hard. Especially when habits are deeply rooted, or when you're just not sure where to begin. But don't worry, let's walk you through what it really means to take control of your health, with compassion, courage, and clarity. Let's talk about the emotional side of these choices, and how you can take action today. Changing your diet, in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s. It's no small thing. And if no one's told you this yet, let me be the one to say it: you're allowed to feel overwhelmed. Maybe you've eaten a certain way your whole life. Maybe you grew up believing that canned veggies were just fine, or that a little vinegar never hurt anyone. And now, suddenly, you're hearing that the very foods you thought were helping, might not be doing you any favors anymore. That's tough. There's a kind of grief in that, isn't there? Grief for the comfort of routine, for the foods you've shared with your family for decades. For the simplicity that once worked, but maybe doesn't anymore. But here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to change everything. Just one small step at a time. Because even the tiniest shift, like swapping raw broccoli for steamed, or trading canned beets for fresh ones, can make a powerful difference in how you feel, how you move, and how you age. And let's be clear. This isn't about fear. It's not about rules or guilt or cutting out all the foods you love. It's about love. Real, lasting, proactive love, for yourself, for your spouse, for your parents, for anyone you care for. It's about making informed, thoughtful decisions that support your heart, your mind, and your ability to stay independent just a little bit longer. So, here's your invitation: don't wait for a doctor's warning. Don't wait until you feel worse. Start tonight. Just take one vegetable off your plate, maybe it's those salty canned beets. And add one nourishing veggie back in, like a scoop of warm, cinnamon-dusted sweet potato. Simple. Gentle. Empowering. Because you don't need a perfect diet to see real benefits. You just need to start. Your body is still listening. Still responding. Still capable of healing and growing stronger, even now. You deserve to feel good in your skin. To have steady energy. To wake up without bloating or discomfort. To walk into the kitchen and know you're making choices that honor the life you've lived, and the year's still ahead. And guess what? You're not alone. So many others in our Elderly Wisdom Tips community are walking the same road, step by step, day by day. And together, we're learning that getting older doesn't have to mean giving up. It just means getting smarter, getting softer, getting wiser. And sometimes, it starts with a single vegetable. Let's quickly bring it all home. To recap. If you want to feel better, think clearer, and age with more ease. Here's what to remember: avoid raw cruciferous veggies like raw broccoli and cauliflower, especially if you've been dealing with bloating or thyroid issues. Skip the canned beets that come swimming in salty brine, they're no friend to your heart. And cut back on vinegar-heavy pickled vegetables that may be doing more harm than good to your digestion and kidneys. Instead, embrace sweet potatoes. For steady energy, blood sugar balance, and heart health. Add in cooked spinach, your bones, your brain, and your muscles will thank you. And don't overlook those humble green peas, packed with protein, fiber, and essential nutrients to keep you moving and regular. Simple swaps. Big results. Now, let's talk. Which of these vegetables surprised you the most? Was there one you thought was healthy, but now you're rethinking? Or maybe you've got a favorite veggie that's been your secret weapon for years? Drop a comment below. I truly read every single one, and your story might just help someone else in our community. And if this video gave you something to think about, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Tips for thoughtful, down-to-earth guidance on aging well. We share real advice, real stories, and simple changes that make a real difference. No fluff. No gimmicks. Just wisdom, for the years that matter most. Thank you for spending your time with me today. You matter. Your health matters. And every step you take toward taking care of yourself, or someone you love, is a powerful one. So, stay kind to your body. Stay kind to your loved ones. And most of all, keep learning. I'll see you in the next one.